Today's news is one of the coolest pieces of racing news we've had in a very long time, turning a 2-mile oval racetrack into a half-mile short track. So let's get into the video. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I wanted to throw up this episode of The High Side. I know it's shorter than normal, but we have some awesome news, something totally unexpected that I'm still trying to get my mind around the fact that NASCAR is actually willing to do this. But as of today, it was made public that NASCAR submitted a proposal to San Bernardino County in California, about an hour north of Los Angeles, where Auto Club Speedway currently is, to have a project for the 2-mile current layout to demolish that and change it into a half-mile short track. In this proposal, the construction would begin after the spring 2021 race date that NASCAR will have next year, and they plan to have it ready in the new configuration for the NASCAR season in 2022. There are no plans to skip anything on the schedule before that opening race date in the new configuration. Before we get into the blueprint and what the track will probably look like when it's all done in 2022, I want to read this comment shared by Bob Pockrass from Craig Neeb, EVP, Chief Innovation Officer from NASCAR, on what they are planning to do with Auto Club Speedway in the future. We are still very, very early in the process, but we are excited about what this ambitious project could mean for our loyal fans in Southern California. This is our first step towards creating a state-of-the-art facility that would deliver the intense short track racing our fans love, an intimate viewing experience, and upgraded suites and hospitality areas that would position Auto Club Speedway among the top entertainment venues in the market. So obviously NASCAR is committed to this. They do own Auto Club Speedway, which is obviously important to mention. That's how they are able to do this with the racetrack. It's not owned by SMI or anybody else. So NASCAR obviously has control of what happens to the racetrack, and it's been very well documented that NASCAR has been missing a lot of short tracks from the schedule. They only have 3: Bristol, Martinsville, and Richmond, and they haven't added a new short track to the schedule in decades, which is crazy to think about considering it creates the best action and probably the most entertaining races throughout the year. It's important to note that Auto Club Speedway was probably due for a repave here in the near future, in the next few years, and with that, it probably would have led to some pretty lackluster racing, one groove racetrack. The current product right now is amazing, creating some great races. There's multiple grooves, almost 5 lanes of grooves that you can go around on the track right now, which creates a lot of racing, a lot of 4 wide, 5 wide even. But with the repave, it would probably gone down to a one groove racetrack, at least in the near future after the repave. And I think with that in mind, if they were going to make a transition with the track and rebuild it, that was the time, instead of investing in a repave and then doing it down the line. And it's very important for NASCAR to be on the West Coast. So property in that area is very expensive. So they don't want to just buy a new piece of property. So it makes sense to make a short track in that area. With the short track obviously not taking much space, there's a lot of activities and amenities they can do around the track, which they can take advantage of and make it unique and special. And so that's something to also keep in mind. But with that said, let's get into the blueprint that was shared on social media and kind of break it down just a little bit. As you can see, it is a half mile. There's a bunch of grandstands on the front stretch, as well as looks like there's some seats on both ends of the racetrack on turn 4 and turns 1 and 2. And it's basically, what it looks like is a combination between Martinsville and Bristol. It is supposed to be a high bank corner racetrack. So we've got the long back stretch, which basically is going to be exactly like Martinsville, I would imagine, but then you're going to have the turns like Bristol. Now, as you can see in the front stretch, it's not straight all the way, so it'll add a little different dimension than Martinsville or Bristol, but basically it is like a Martinsville and a Bristol. If they had a baby, this is almost identically what it would probably look like. I like to call it Brisville. I don't know if that name will stick, but I thought that was pretty cool. Now, it's something also interesting to note here is it looks like off turn 4, there's garages with a fan zone outside of the racetrack, which will be interesting. I don't know how that's going to work, if you have to have a special pass to see the go in the garage area like that. If you still have to have a garage pass, or even if you don't have a garage pass, does that mean you'll have access to it? Is that whole area going to be cut off for two fans? Because obviously, if you have multiple series there at the same time, that could be difficult. I'm not sure how many cars are going to be in each garage. And I think it also notes, again, I've never been there, but from what I can tell, it looks like basically the front grandstands and everything in front of it is what's basically standing there now, and they're not really going to change that part of it too much. But obviously behind that, they're going to start tearing stuff down. Lots of parking areas and very small infield. It doesn't even look like the haulers are probably going to fit in the infield. So that's hopefully, and hopefully that'll all work out. And looks like also the pits, you'll come off turn, or right before turn 3, and you'll come off right off turn 2, kind of similar to Martinsville as well. So looks, again, these have very similar characteristics to both Bristol and Martinsville in different aspects, but there's definitely a lot of room to play around outside of the racetrack as far as what they can do, the events and amenities they can provide around the racetrack. I think there's a lot of potential. Going to be some obviously suites in the stands, as they mentioned, and so there's a lot to take from this. Obviously, we'll learn more in the future as things unwind. But really exciting that we're going to eventually at least get one more short track on the schedule. It won't be in 2021, but it looks like at least in 2022, we're going to have a fourth race short track on the schedule. So I'm really excited about it. Hopefully, maybe this won't be the only new additional short track on the schedule going forward. We do know, of course, Nashville Speedway will be added on the schedule next year, but that's a mile track, I believe. It's not a short track at all. So hopefully this, and we'll see more changes and get a more fan friendly schedule in the future. What do you guys think of this news? Are you excited to see Auto Club and NASCAR make this big of a move? It's going to be a big investment, but it looks like they're really willing to do this, and they are committed, which is really good to see. And again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear them. What other tracks do you think they should have done this to? I think they could have definitely done this to Kentucky, because that track is just not the greatest. Texas would have been another good option. Maybe we'll see this at other tracks. Who knows? But if you guys would like to see other tracks be replaced with short tracks like this, let me know in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop that like and subscribe if you guys want to see more episodes of The High Side if you're new to the channel. And I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next episode of The High Side.